are so many treatment centers now to pick from, especially in Malibu. And of course, we know why somebody would pick Malibu. But why
Sure.
Soba Malibu? Why would somebody, if they're scrolling through the internet, looking at all kinds of treatment centers, why Soba Malibu?
I think people would choose Soba Malibu because of what we stand for, really. I mean, we stand out. And I think we stand out, it's not the modalities we use, it's not all the different holistic methods we have or the different types of therapy or psychiatry or anything that we have in that regard. I think it truly comes from who and what we are and what we espouse. And that's that we care. And it shows. It shows on the website. It shows from the first person you talk to on the phone. It shows from every staff member that we're doing this, and it's not just, for a business. It's because the people there care.
Starting at the top, we think about our CEO, Greg Hanley. It's a trickle down, I mean, for years, he took the calls when somebody would call in, so we know how much he cares.
The first time I ever called Soba Malibu, Greg Hanley answered the phone, and I actually said to him, I said, "Oh, you're the owner?" And he's like, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, you're answering the phone?" And he said, "I answer all the calls." And then I said, "Okay, I'd love to come out and meet someone at your organization to talk to and blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Who should I come see?" And he said, "Me." And I'm like, "Oh, but you're the owner. And you're going to just come see me from a cold call." And he's like, "Yeah, of course I will."
Yeah,
and I knew
caring.
It was different in that moment. I knew it was something different. And what I've talked to Greg about, I've worked at other treatment centers.
I was just going to say, I know that you came from a different treatment center.
Yes.
So what has been let's be transparent.
Sure.
What's your experience based on your experience with other treatment centers?
This is by far so much different than any treatment center I work for. I would never work for another treatment center after working here and working with Greg Hanley. I just wouldn't. Because for me, it's exactly, when I met Greg Hanley, it wasn't about what we could do. Basically, it was about people who have been through this, who've walked this road themselves, giving back what they were given. And that's all it's about. And all we ever talk about is how we can help the most amount of people for the longest amount of time.
And making it work, making sure somebody gets in there. I know that when people call in, there's a really good chance, no matter what the hardship is, getting into the treatment program. Soba goes out of their way to make it work. They really do.
Without a doubt.
And so let's get into a little bit about what makes Soba so individual. The programs are so individualized.
I think what makes it so individualized is exactly what we're talking about. It always has to come back to the top, to who started it. It comes back to Greg Hanley. That the type of person he is he's going to take that initial call from that initial family member or the potential client themselves, correct? And what he's going to do is find out, how can I help this person? Any way I can, in any way, shape, or form. So that trickles down, like you said earlier, to the staff. Like, we're going to help these people in whatever way is good for them.
And it's probably one of the hardest calls a family member makes, or somebody struggling with addiction, getting on that phone and making that call.
It is.
You want to be able to really connect at that point in time. You want to feel like you can say anything to that person on the other side of the phone. And I think that, again, whether it's Greg or it's the staff, basically what I'm hearing you say is they're going to feel loved and they're going to feel cared for.
That's what I hear. I talk to parents all the time. I talk to clients all the time. I deal with them on a daily basis. And that's what everybody says. What I get every single day, at least one time a day, is like, I've been to 20 different treatment centers, and I have never felt like somebody cared or that the staff actually loves me. And then I have parents say the same thing. No place has ever cared about our child until you. And when I hear that, it's just like...
That's huge. I think they even have that on their website, care... There's some word that they use. Carefrontation.
Yes,
or
not confrontation, carefrontation.
Carefrontation. I love that. I love that.
It's the truth, though. I mean, that's what it is.
And it's the community, and it feels like not only does the staff feel like a family, but once you're in Malibu, there is a huge Soba community that you're going to come across. Why is that?
Well, I think it's twofold. It's just because when people are with us, they don't ever want to leave. Once they get with us, they don't ever want to go. We have to push people out. We have to say, it's time for you to go, little bird, you know?
Exactly.
But I
you
think,
give them what they need to leave.
Well, yes, and I think, but what it also, we know this is what they need. Because when you stay sober long term, you're not going to be in treatment for the rest of your life. You're not going to be in a sober living environment or a treatment center.
You gotta live in the real world.
Exactly.
So what is the first thing someone will encounter when they pick up the phone and they call Soba?
Well, when they first call Soba, the first thing they're going to encounter is that they'll actually get a real person. They'll get a live person on the other end of the phone. Most times, you can even test this yourself. Call a treatment center. You will get a recording.
Wow.
That's one special thing
Who
we
wants
have.
to talk to a recording when you're in that much pain?
Well, that's the thing. Most people then don't make that second call, and those
Yeah.
people will die.
Wow.
That's the thing. If you need to talk to someone, you need what they get, and it's
You have
not.
that, all you have is a moment in time. That's
Exactly. And if you lose that, they're gone.
it. Wow.
And then actually you've lost a life, most likely. Truly.
What are the steps then? You go into detox, most likely. That's the first step. So explain, if somebody's listening and watching this for the first time,
Sure.
they don't know what the treatment plan is. They don't understand how it all works. You know, we know all the IOP, you know, and all of this.
Yes.
But the average person who's just learning about treatment, explain what would be the process.
What the process is nothing that they probably think, nothing that they've probably seen in the movies. It's not usually a hospital type situation. It isn't at Soba Malibu. It's as comfortable and as
Homey.
at home as you can get. I mean, we have 24/7 staff, we have nurses, we have technicians that are there at all times, we have doctors that see the clients every day, we have MDs, psychiatrists, so they are getting, complete service
Yes.
to them, but in a home environment, in a room that feels like their own room.
You know what else I think makes Soba stand out? I've been very transparent about it. I was a therapist and life coach over at Malibu for quite a while. Yes, I've been with Soba since 2009. But it isn't just that it feels homey because of the location or the way it's decorated per se, because it's not overly fancy. It's very down home, But it's the fact that a lot of the employees are still the same employees that have been there for years. There's very little turnover. And so when someone goes there, they feel so comfortable because the staff is so comfortable.
Exactly. And I think it's because most of the staff also is in recovery themselves.
Yes.
And they've lived the life, and they know it, and they know what they got, and they know how to give that back. And I think also, something that we can talk about as well is that a lot of the staff are former clients.
Yeah, that's amazing. They have they have jobs. Talk about life coaching. You actually get on-the-job experience eventually.
Yeah. I'm getting emotional right now.
I know, right?
I'm getting emotional.
Well,
because when you see
people get married and have children that started through
you
the
see
doors.
people that are dying, and then those people that are dying, you not only walk them through that, then you actually see their lives change. You see them have a job that you can help them get. Then they have a wife. Then they have children. Then you get to watch it. That's why we do what we do. That's what makes Soba Malibu different. You have people that understand. I talk about this all the time to the staff that we are first responders. We are, as doctors and nurses.
I never thought about it that way, but that's true. You really
we
are.
run into the burning building. I tell them that, and they laugh at me. Sometimes I go, but it's true, because we hold people's lives in our hands. And I know it sounds dramatic, but that is the truth.
Well, there's nothing like seeing, a car pull up. They drop off their loved one. Everybody is in so much pain.
Oh.
Their eyes are cloudy. They can hardly talk. And then you see the blueness of their eyes, or the brown, their eyes.
They come alive.
They come alive. There's nothing like that.
Yes.
So the steps are that.
I would tell you with that, it's like I understand it because I've been on both sides.
Tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh, well, I'm in recovery myself. I'm almost 22 years sober.
Congratulations.
My sobriety date is July 10th, 1994.
Wow, that's amazing.
But what I know I can give the families, and that I've always been able to give the families, is they can trust me. The potential clients can trust me because I talk like they talk. Because I've done the walk they've done.
What a great role model you are, because so many of the people coming into treatment today are in their 20s. And you were in your, mid to late 20s when you got sober.
Yes.
Wow.
It was pretty, and I don't know if there was as many back then. Now it's kind of cool. I don't know if it was cool when I got sober, but it's kind of cool now.
There's a real community. And Soba's made, recovery, quote, fun.
Yes.
That's what they're known for.
Yeah.
And that's what we were going to get into. We were going to get into a little bit about what happens after residential, because,
Sure.
we know 30 days is just not enough time.
No, that model has never worked and will never work.
Right.
I mean, maybe for people who are problem drinkers or whatever, they got into a, something at school and they have to go somewhere for 30 days or whatever. But, true recovery, it's about longevity of care. How long can you keep someone? Even in 12 steps programs, they know at 90 days is kind of a critical point. If you can get someone past 90 days, you might
really
now
good
have
chance.
a shot with them. And so I think what happens is you come to residential, you might we do a full medical detox, and then you'd stay in the residential program where you're monitored 24/7. You're basically taken care of. It's wonderful, actually.
Yeah.
And then we do step-down types of services. You would then go to a secondary level, which would be transitional living.
And do they have a car during transitional living?
No, not during transitional living. It's kind of like residential where they're still monitored 24/7, but they have more freedoms. They have more different groups they can go to, just different kinds of freedoms that they have that they don't have at
Even
residential.
without the car. So it's
Even
other
without their
it's
cars.
Other kinds of freedoms. It's being able to handpick which groups they want to go to.
Yes.
Okay.
And they'd be outside of the treatment center. They'd be starting to dip their foot more into the real world in the community.
Right.
Then you would go down to what is called IOP, intensive outpatient program,
And that's sober
and or
living.
sober living. And you can do them combined, or you can do intensive outpatient from home as well. But when you get to that level, now you're still in treatment, you're still under care and being monitored, but you're entering the real world.
And what's so great is you're stepping down, so to speak, or stepping up, if you could say.
That's true.
With
Good.
some of the
Yes.
same people.
Exactly.
So you have this history. You have the history with the staff. You have a history with your friends, your fellows. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And of course, all the people that you're meeting at the meetings.
It's so true, because actually what we're doing, we're having like a microcosm of what their life is going to be like. Because when they leave here, they're going to need a community. They can't do this on their own. If you're truly an alcoholic and a drug addict, you can't do this on your own.
No.
So we have this built-in community that we're already showing them. They see the people that they can reach down to help that are now in residential when they're in transitional, and then they can reach their hand up to the people in sober living, so they can see they can help people below them, and they can ask for help from people
And
above
then by
them.
helping others, that's what the program is all about, is serving others. That's what's going to keep you sober, because you've been there.
That's
even,
why
even
we-
if it's a week, you have something to offer somebody.
Of course.
And that's another thing I always noticed when I was working over in Malibu, is that not only do you get out of the car, you're like in shock because you've just, you don't know where you are, you don't know what you're going to be going through. You even meet some of the other clients.
Right away.
They can be just kind of hanging around and talking, and then you just feel this warm feeling like, oh, I am part of something. I think that's the feeling that Soba has. Wouldn't you say, is that you're really part of something really big?
Something special.
Or
It is
something
really,
special.
truly something big and special. But what you made me laugh. I was smiling the whole time you were saying it, because you know what I hear? Clients step out of that car all days, but they've been to 4, 5, 6 other treatment centers
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't get it. And I'm like, why? They're like, every client I talk to that's here loves it. They're like, every other treatment center I go to, they all talk about how this place is awful.
And I can't wait to get out
I
of
can't.
here, and my mom sent me here, and I don't want to be here. But
You don't get that when you talk to clients at Soba Malibu.
No.
They love it there.
there isn't the complaining that goes on. Because let's face it, when you're in treatment, you want to look for anything but to be in treatment. And you're going to look for everything, every fault you can possibly look for. So when you say that and you tell me that people, and I agree, when I worked there just weren't the complaints.
Yeah,
There
you
just
saw
weren't.
it.
People were happy.
The thing is, I believe this.
It's not easy, but they were happy.
Yes, you're right. But what I found in life is people know truth. You can see it. You feel
Oh,
it.
yeah,
You know it.
You know,
So,
you know authenticity. You know when
Exactly.
something's real. And again, it starts at the top, and I think it's a trickle down.
and that's what you said earlier when I told you, why am I here? Why do I work at Soba Malibu? Because Greg Hanley espouses what I feel, and he's proved it to me. Basically, give back what we were given. So this whole thing is about being of service.
Well, you
That's
make
all
me
it
laugh
is.
when you said you won't work at any other treatment
I
center.
won't.
Because when people say to me, "Would you ever go back and work at a treatment center?" I said, "Yeah, I'd work at Soba." Period. End of story.
Me too.
That's period. I'm done.
And I've told him that. I said, I'm never going anywhere.
So why less relapses? With this sort of program where you go and you have a step down. I mean, isn't there less relapses?
Without a doubt. And what we can do too is that we actually can track it, because we have clients that will stay with us for extended periods of time. So we can see through drug tests as well, they they are still sober. Because people that talk to you about statistics, they really can't tell because you're just calling somebody
Yeah.
and saying, you still sober? And they're like, sure.
Right,
You know,
right.
but
They
you
can
don't know
say
if they are or
anything.
not.
Right.
But so with the level, with the type of care we give, we can actually, we do give them a better shot because number one statistic of what gives somebody a good chance at staying sober long term is longevity of care, is
Also
in some sort of
case
recovery
management.
program.
I mean, you actually have case managers that work with each client. Each
Oh.
client is given a case manager. I don't know if people know what that is, but
Sure.
when they leave the program, what might they expect? What will they have? You know, will they
From
have a name
from their
of a-
case managers,
from their
especially.
Case manager,
Yeah. See, what we do as well, besides the medical detox, besides the nurses and the technicians, like we talked about, they do have psychiatry. We do have.
They leave with the name of a psychiatrist.
Well, we have a psychiatrist that they see while they're there. They also have a primary therapist, which they see 2 times a week while they're there. But then I really think it's important when you mention the case managers because all our case managers are drug and alcohol counselors. So their purpose is twofold. They can talk to them about issues about, you know, being a drug addict, being an alcoholic, how, you know, all of those types of feelings and emotions and things. But then they handle the nuts and bolts of real life. Okay, now you probably don't have a resume. And what happens with drug
So they're
addicts and
almost like a
alcoholics?
life coach / case manager.
Exactly.
They're helping them maybe like this is how you open up a checking account, or
Yes.
this is how you get to the market, or whatever it
Yeah.
is, or this is how you get unemployment or get on disability, or do you need a letter for your employee
or court or
employer?
whatever. And you know it, but a lot of people don't know that drug addicts and alcoholics, we have such a massive amount of fear of anything that we at times we don't know how to do
Immobilized, just
Yeah.
immobilized
through
in
fear.
They need someone to like really hold your
Yeah.
hand and say, you know, I'm going to take you through this.
It's
you
true.
know? And
Sit
they
at the
do.
computer with me. Here's how we apply for college, right?
Exactly. They
And they
need
need
that.
that.
They
need
do.
it. And so I think that's a great thing we offer. I'm glad you brought that up.
And they have their own case manager, you know.
Oh, yes.
Each one, yeah.
And we do a full aftercare plan. I mean, very extensive aftercare plan, setting goals. We actually do what you said a lot of times. We set up their therapists and their psychiatrists before they even leave.
Oh, that's
we make
great.
sure that they, especially if they're out of
You
state.
make it seamless so that
Yes.
you know they have a real good chance of making it.
And then they
that's
have
the goal.
everybody call. They can come back to Soba at any moment, call anybody at any time. You know, we're always there for
Always
anyone there.
Now we don't have much time. We have about
Okay.
a minute and a half. But
Sure,
I just,
sure.
you know, what would you say to that person out there that either is struggling or is a family member of someone they love?
Wow, that's so heavy.
Probably
what I
pick
would
up the
say,
phone. That would be one thing.
yeah, pick up the phone. But what I would say is, really, truly, the only way that this is ever going to stop is get rid of the shame and guilt. Stop hiding. Stop feeling like that you or your family member is less than or is a bad moral character or, you know, that's
This is
people's.
a disease.
When you live in shame and guilt, you will die. If you perpetuate shame and guilt to your family member, you're helping them die. Because until we take the shame and guilt away from a disease, that somebody has a disease, the symptoms manifest in a different way. But if this was a physical disease, none of this would be going on. There'd be no shame or guilt
Right.
that you have cancer and this is how you treat it. Well,
It would be treated completely different.
it would be, and that's why people are dying.
Hard to believe
So,
it's 2016 and it's still like
isn't
that,
it?
right?
It to me, it's insane. Just stop,
Just
right? If you love me, you wouldn't do it. It's like, well those things don't
get
work.
over
They
it.
never
I'm
work.
tired of helping you.
Yeah,
Find
man
your own
up,
way. Man up.
man
yeah.
up, right?
And I think what I'm hearing you say, and then we're going to close, is just never give up on someone you love and don't give up on yourself.
That's what makes Soba special. We
Yeah,
never give up
we
on
never-
anybody.
Isn't that great? Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
Mark.
so much. It's
Okay.
so good to see you.
too. Okay.
Thank you.